Well, welcome to 2teachone Part 2.
Part duh.
Dear.
Duh.
You should jump in there. And, Jacob loves Canada.
What does Canada have to do with saying duh?
Well,
Punch.
Québécois. Québécois.
Okay.
Je suis errant.
That'll do.
Anyway, thank you.
Anyway,
okay.
welcome to part 2. It all started with like the marathon thing, right?
Well,
and so what's it been like after that?
Well, so, throughout my life, I had bought weights before, and I'd always wanted, kind of like Jacob, I never had a problem putting on weight. So I was like about 175, and like right now I'm at 147. So I had a little bit of extra body fat that I carried around just forever because I didn't play sports as a kid.
Yeah.
Athletics was never a thing that was encouraged. And then I immediately, when I was in high school, I began smoking. I, drank a lot of beer. Just generally being out of shape was how I existed. But there would be periods of time where I'd want to get in shape. So I'd buy some weights and I'd work out for a little while, or I'd have some friends that went to the gym and I'd go. And I actually had some pretty bad experiences. I remember working out so hard one time and these guys that I was with, they didn't really understand, or I don't know what their motivation was. And they were already kind of ripped. And I ended up so sore that I literally couldn't extend my arm, for like a week. And stuff like that will make you not want to work out again, right?
Absolutely.
So that would happen, and then interspersed with periods of binge drinking, and there was never any consistency, right? And so, cut to when I get into where I'm a patient, or a client where we work now, I started working out in that little home gym downstairs at the main campus. I was like, cool, and I began a routine there. And then when I moved over to where we are now, you left immediately. I didn't really keep that up. I kind of went down to the gym occasionally, and I was smoking heavily, right? At least half a pack to a pack a day. And then it was like January. Yeah, it was like January. And they were like, hey, do you want to do this Colfax Marathon? Was it the relay, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, here's my chance. Yes, I do. I want to quit smoking, and I want to get back in shape. So here's a cause. And so, we started going to the gym when you got back from vacation. And I didn't really focus on weights at that time because I had some old injuries. I had messed up my shoulder. I'd messed up my knees. Because, when I would try to work out, I'd go like super too hard and injure myself. So I had some nagging injuries, and I discovered though that I did love running. There's something very meditative about like mile 8, and when your body's like, dude, you should totally stop.
Right.
And you don't. And then you just keep going, and you find yourself it's odd to explain. It's like you're in another place. Your brain is not focused, which can be dangerous when you're running on roads, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why they block off the streets.
That's why it's good to stick to trails or bike paths or something. Yeah, so I discovered I really enjoyed that. So, and we worked out, and then you saw a bit of how I can hurt myself. I was doing these reverse crunches last year, and I tore something in my abdominal area.
Yeah. And
wasn't able to work out for a while. And then this past year just really started to hit it. And it's interesting because my motivation originally, I came off a relationship, right? And I had gained some weight in the place I was at previously, and there was no working out there. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna shred up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get me some tattoos. Gonna get me a motorcycle. Be right back in there, man. When she sees me, let's shred it up with some tattoos and a motorcycle, she is totally coming back. Like, that's literally where I was at with, my thinking about life and what I wanted to do in the future. And it's funny because you can start there. Like, great, anything that gets you into the gym, that's what I realize now. Mm-hmm. And that is no longer my motivation. I've kind of moved past that. But as opposed to bulking up, I wanted to stay sort of slim, right? Because I don't have any problem. Like, I can put on weight like that. But, keeping it kind of slim and looking good with my shirt off, is kind of my focus. It is a bit vain, but that's why I work out. I mean, there's health benefits, and I love the feeling. Like, I love, like, after I lift now, you know, how I feel. I love how I feel after I run. But it is definitely somewhat motivated by the fact that I want to have that self-confidence, right? Because I know, you know, when you look like you work out and take care of yourself, people treat you differently. And I don't think it's almost as if they do it in the same way that they innately respect somebody that dresses how they feel is dressed nice. Now, that's different for different types of people.
Right.
But they say, even though people don't mean to, they judge you on how you look and how you take care of yourself and what you present to the world.
Absolutely.
And it's also just part of how I like to wear nice things now. I like to look like I take care of myself. And I think it's a reaction because for so many years I just didn't. And now it's a passion to, you know, be healthy, look good, eat well. I really enjoy it. And it is funny because the way we work out is a little bit different. I'm a little bit more like Jacob than Adrian is, in the sense that I had read this book years ago that talked about how until you were an elite bodybuilder, you didn't really need to do any more exercises than big compound movements. And so that's what I focus on. And I had a shoulder injury for when I started working out again, but through doing some machine work and stuff, like, that's not even an issue anymore. So I was able to start doing some of the compound movements like bench press that I spent a year working up to get to a place where I could do bench press comfortably and my shoulder doesn't hurt. And so I've been focusing on that this year. A lot of body weight exercises. I love pull-ups. You know that.
Yes.
It's my favorite exercise. And, you know, I go and I lift weights about 3 times a week, and I run almost every day. And I do one long run, about 8 to 12 miles on Sunday. Most of the time I run anywhere between 2 and 3 miles. And even on days when I do leg day, I'll go do 2 miles on the treadmill.
Yeah.
I just, I enjoy it. I enjoy the running. But it's been a process and a journey, and it does give you something to focus on, especially when you don't have anything else going on, right? You know, when your life isn't exactly like you want it to look, that's something that I can have total control over. Like, there's a lot of things I can't control, but how much effort I give towards that, I can have complete control over. I can totally control what I eat. I mean, it's harder sometimes than others, but I can. Like, it's within the realm of possibility. I can't control a lot of stuff that happens in the world. In fact, almost everything. But how much effort I put into things, I can control. And that's what's fun about it. And there's something about reaching new personal bests, right? Like, for me, that weighs 147 pounds, when it was a couple weeks ago, was able to put up almost 200, you know, on a bench press. For me, that's a big deal.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, man.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. I was like, cool. And I could see that there was improvement. Because I remember last year, you know, when, you know, 120 was something. And then people start to tell you, right? Because it's funny because I didn't know you, Jacob, until, about 2 years ago? That's when we first met. And when I'll occasionally see a picture of you when you were skinny, and the improvement is amazing, you know, and I really like that too. And Adrian's looking a lot thinner these days. Like that picture you posted on Facebook of you at like 245 on the horse.
Yeah.
You know.
Can we talk about that horse for a minute?
Did you see it? It was crying.
I was like, where is this dude riding this horse with those polka dot pants on, man?
Dude, the polka dot pants with the brown, like, you know, handmade shoes. Dude.
Oh, I thought they were the red ones with the gold.
With the buckle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got super excited. I was like, oh, those are the shoes.
No, they're not the sneakers. No.
Okay.
No, man. No. Yeah, dude, I was just, you know, with the fedora hat on and some sunglasses. Man. I was really feeling myself right that day with that. I was just riding on the grounds at this resort we were staying at.
I was like, where has he been hiding this picture from?
I've got gems, man, but I don't pull stuff like that out because, you know, people will realize the privileged human being that I am. They'll know.
That picture made me happy.
Oh, dude. It was, dude, so many memories.
Yeah, I wish I had more pictures from back in the day too. You know, it's funny because a lot of my youth and early growing up, we didn't have what we have now. Like pictures were a big deal. Like you had to have like a special extra machine called a camera. You know,
Oh, dude.
like now your
Yes.
phone is a computer, a camera, all access device. I mean, it's amazing. It's almost like we live in Star Trek sometimes.
Speaking of which, can we just back up? Where did you see pictures of me when I was skinny?
So there is, I think it might have been on the
I thought I had
computer.
eradicated all of the evidence of my beanpolery.
Just wiped it.
Just
No.
the original Beanpole McGillicuddy.
The one I'm thinking of in particular is, I think it might have been you and Adrian. I don't know. You're like in front of the place where we work, and you look significantly thinner. You may have a mustache. Did you have a mustache?
Wow, that's that OG, triple
Yeah,
OG
yeah.
stuff. Right
Well,
there,
plus,
man.
remember I mentioned there is a file on our computer because it was your computer for such a long time that just has your name on it and just random things. And
I should probably come
yeah,
wipe that.
Nah, man. Nah, man. You know, the future, you see, this is the thing. People are going to find
feds
that in the
come in,
future, man. Like, they're going to be like, wow, look at this.
Look at this dude's mustache.
right. This is
I'll tell
killer.
you,
With the hair,
Dude, I felt the power of that mustache. Day one.
you look like a completely different person now.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's something we can't argue about.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
yeah, and it's awesome. I know at one point in my drinking career, I weighed 198 pounds.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Yeah, and there is a picture of that. Now you'd have to look.
You? Dude, 198?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, and I am not big. You know, I'm about 5'6" right now, weigh about 147, and I look good at like 150 pounds. You
Yeah,
know, like,
man. Yeah.
And if I were to like put on 10 pounds of muscle, I would look ripped, right?
Yeah.
But this 198 pounds was not,
Oh, dude, that's like water
not
weight,
muscle.
man. You just,
Yeah.
just puffy.
Extremely puffy.
Puffy in 96.
Yeah, it was brutal, and just working my way back from that. And at one point, I did a lot of research and what I thought humans should eat. I ended up at the paleo diet, and I dropped like 40 pounds. Not really even meaning to,
Yeah.
but dropping like 40 pounds in a few months. It's interesting what diet can do. Right?
Yeah. Most of the things that we're talking about, you can go into the gym and do all of these things and do it several times a week and what have you. But most of the big differences come down to diet.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Either heavy on the uptake or the opposite, cutting out certain things. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I know what's made the difference for me the past few months. It was funny because somebody made mention the other day. They're like, "Oh, your arms are bigger," and I was talking with Adrian. They're not. They're actually smaller because I've been cutting. So we've been doing intermittent fasting, and I've been working out in a fasted state, which I know we talked about.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? But it's with the intention of getting to a lower body fat percentage, and then this winter, bulking back up. But it's funny how that's all diet. Like my workout really didn't change. I had to get adjusted to working out fasted. And then of course you immediately have to eat. You have to time it because you can't go very long after you expend that amount of energy.
No.
And it did cut into my running. I've done a lot more HIT, high intensity training, than long distance running because I can't really go out and you can't run, 5 to 10 miles without eating some carbohydrates.
Oh, dude, someone would have to scrape you off the trail
Yeah.
and deliver you back home.
Right. I mean, and that's where it gets, where, you go from accomplishing a goal to injuring yourself. And there's a fine line there.
Right.
But it is fascinating what the differences are because I've read some stuff that absolutely said not only should you eat before a workout, you should eat during a workout, and
Yeah.
and so it just depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And since I'm trying to get to a low body fat percentage, I am sacrificing some muscle, but it furthers my ultimate goal, which is not necessarily to get extremely strong. It's to look good with my shirt off, right? Mm-hmm. And I think even though sometimes people will say, "Oh, well, this and that and this," whatever your goal is, just admit it and go for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, almost everyone that's in the gym, the amount of time that we spend in the gym, at some level is looking to change the way that their body looks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if they, and it may not be the main reason, but, I think for a lot of people, that's what brings them in, and that's fine. Like it's, what's the big deal? We're all just trying to make our lives better,
Yeah, exactly.
And if that starts with, looking better with your shirt off, which obviously makes you feel better, and then has this trickle down effect, then so be it, Like you said, you just get in there and do it. And, for somebody like me in the beginning that was just desperately trying to put on weight and not just be blown away by a stiff wind, in the beginning, I don't know if I read it somewhere, if it was somebody in the gym that told me this, but they're like, if you want to be big, you have to eat big. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh God, I'm just so tired of eating.
Yeah.
I just can't consume enough calories, and you have to get this, what's called a surplus,
Yeah.
So that's where the supplements come in, because it's just, I don't have the time or the money to just sit around eating all day. Like in between, you just work out and then you eat, and then you work out and then you eat. And, that's what the bodybuilders do, with the addition of a little bit of juice.
Speaking of the juice.
I've decided to start, I have my own proprietary formula that I've come up with. So start off with bull testosterone. You got to get straight from the source. Mm-hmm. I procure it myself through a process which I will not go into.
It's dangerous.
Yes. Then I use the horn of a mountain elk. Right, you have to find the chief of the mountain elk,
as opposed to the plains elk.
Yes, the mountain elk is a much hardier species. Okay. Yes,
it sounds hardier.
Yeah, you have to find the leader of their pack, right? Which is known as the chief of the mountain elks. It has pure white hair.
Yes,
and you have to get the horn from there. I also use a feather from the fabled cheetah ostrich of northern Burkina Faso.
I was going to say Ireland.
What the last ingredient is, of course, the 4-leaf clover. And I inject that straight into the heart. A lot of people will tell you it has to go through subcutaneous tissue right now. I mixture, get the mixture going, and I let it ferment with, of course, some very strong grain alcohol. And this straight into the heart.
Into the heart.
Yeah, that's how I recommend it. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
Pretty much just like that.
So that every day.
Every day.
You are committed, sir. You truly are.
Yeah, I get
Other people don't even, don't go to those lengths.
No.
For example, we were leaving the gym yesterday, and I kid you not, it was just one of those things, your head swivels at the right moment, and I kid you not, I catch a glimpse of someone sitting in this vehicle that has just retracted. They were leaning over. They had just juiced themselves, syringe in hand, and was retracting the hand to put the syringe away. And I was like, oh, okay. But I've seen that dude, and he definitely fits the bill.
Mm-hmm.
He's
People do it.
Yeah,
You hang around the gym long enough, and you're likely to not only know who does it, but somebody may offer it to you.
Yes.
Right. And, so I think I wanted to mention something about that, because sometime in the last couple of years, so my mother is she's a nurse, and she has a business where she does IV therapy, which I absolutely recommend. It's a much easier way to get all of your vitamins, like a high concentration. Let's say that. And, it's pretty quick too. But anyway, so this is what she does, for a living. And so at some point she was like, hey, Adrian, since I'm doing your vitamins, there's this thing, it's called, HCG. And I was like, oh, okay. So, what's going on with that? And she's like, oh, you know what it can really help you do is if you're actually trying to be in a deficit, like you can get into a much bigger deficit without sacrificing like your muscle gains, right? Because that's basically its function. HCG is produced by women in early pregnancy. It's actually what pregnancy tests test for, the presence of HCG. At least, I don't know about all these, pregnancy tests, but as far as I know, that's what I read. That's what they test for. And, really what that is supposed to do, what it was going to do for me is just keep my body from eating up all my muscle when I was in a deficit, right? And really target the fat. And so, and you know what? And so I was like, okay, cool. And I did it a couple of times, right? And dude, it was crazy because like the weight just fell off and, that was cool. But here's the thing about, doing something like that, right? I heard someone say, if you don't earn it, you don't keep it. And it's so true. Things that come easy, you don't appreciate them enough, or at least I didn't, appreciate it enough to definitely go out of my way to maintain that, because it came too easy. And so at this point, what I definitely, encourage people to do is don't take shortcuts.
No.
Like I said, you earn what you keep. When you remember how much sweat, blood and tears, because it's not just about the strife, right? It's not about, that pain and all of those things, right? It's also about like what you learn about yourself. It's a journey.
Yes.
Right. And I think I appreciate that. Nowadays, I appreciate the journey of doing anything way more than, getting to this so-called, goal, like whatever it was you were aiming for, right?
Yeah.
Because, that's where all the interesting stuff happens. We don't read stories just for the end. If that was the case, how many good ones, would be out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was definitely something that I wanted to bring up. And a lot of people would feel like self-conscious about mentioning stuff like that. But, I trusted my mother. There's nothing, wrong with, what I did. But I definitely took that away from that whole, situation.
Mm-hmm. I miss those vitamin injections.
Well, so I'd like to get back into it because there was definitely a big difference, especially for me, with my history with alcohol consumption, long-term abuse. Definitely, for a lot of alcoholics and people in general don't know that, have a huge, vitamin B deficiency. And more specifically for people who have abused alcohol, it makes it to where your system doesn't, absorb it efficiently.
Right, yeah.
And so I had to also take measures for quite a while consistently to actually get to a point where my body was absorbing, those nutrients again. And yeah, IV nutrition is definitely something people should look into. Just kind of, Google it.
Yeah.
If you happen to run into a place called, the Brightest Skincare Company, call them. They're experts. They will take care of you.
I just wanted to mention, I had a really good friend who reminds me of Jacob in the sense that he was skinny and, one of us, and he, began, with working out, and he's at the gym and somebody introduces him to this stuff.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And the thing is, he changed. Now, he wouldn't tell you that he changed, but being his buddy, his closest friend, I watched it completely change his personality. Yeah, he put on, I want to say 60 pounds of muscle.
Right.
In about 2 years. He just got thick. But he became a much more aggressive person. He also began doing things and taking risks in ways that the guy I knew going into it never would have done. And it's funny because I had an opportunity, and even then I knew, right, that wasn't what I wanted, because the whole thing we've all mentioned about working out and exercising is the mental aspect. Right. How much it helps us just, it puts good hormones in our body. It makes us feel good about ourselves. It enhances our well-being. And I feel that, using steroids, because that's what we're talking about. What you did was not steroids.
No, it's not steroids at all. And it's not HGH either. Yeah, it's
exactly,
not it's not growth hormone either, yeah.
No, it was just a technique to allow you to work out and to lose muscle, but totally legit.
Yeah.
But, steroids are illegal, and they're illegal for a reason. And what I have noticed, with that experience in myself is it would ruin, kind of like what we talked about with you last time, the whole thing that I'm doing now. It doesn't even fit into that because it's not about giant muscles. Mm-hmm. It's not about lifting.
Well,
okay, yeah. It's a little bit about giant muscles, but
speak for yourself.
Whatever that means to you. Yeah.
But not at the expense of our mental well-being, right?
No.
And in fact, part of what we do to get those giant muscles enhances our mental well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't take away from it. And I've just noticed that steroids, they just do, right? Putting that much testosterone into your body changes your personality in a way that's not actually good or peaceful.
Yeah.
And so even though you might become a larger guy, you're not going to reap the rewards of earning it and of the peace of mind that comes from hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, even though let's be clear, you still have to work very hard when you're taking steroids.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen.
No, it's not magic.
I think people sometimes miss that. I mean, these dudes that do that still work out very hard.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, if you're a baseball player and you're like 35 years old and you're getting millions of dollars for your body and what it can perform, even though I recognize that to some people it's cheating, I can understand that, because you make millions of dollars off of your body, and here's a substance that will allow you to keep doing that for longer. That's what supports your family and a lot of things that you want to do with your life.
Right.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Even though it's still illegal and against the rules. But just a regular Joe who's not going to make any more money, their life isn't really going to change except that they'll be larger. I don't understand that rationale. And I would caution anybody that's even considering it to look in a different direction and just eat right, work out hard, and things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean,
but it's also important to understand that there's limitations to that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I as much as my, drive is to continue to get stronger and inevitably a little bit bigger, I also know that that's going to max out at some point. And I have to understand that. If I'm to continue to do it naturally, you know what I mean? I'm only going to get so big. And speaking of the, going back to Adrian's pain points, genetically, I'm not necessarily, built for this, in the way that I have little teeny bird bones, particularly my wrists and my ankles. In fact, I have to use bands and wraps and things like that because I lift an amount of weight that my wrists and ankles just aren't going to take. But that's the first sign that I can only go so far. And that, that's fine with me. In fact, I'm in a phase now where I'm concentrating more on getting stronger than I am on getting bigger.
Yeah.
For the last year, that's kind of been my motto. Just focus on getting a little bit stronger each day, or each workout, or whatever it is. Maybe a pound here, 2 pounds there, whatever it is. But I do know that that's going to reach. It's going to end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. It's not going to. And as we talked about earlier, I may have inadvertently reached my end. Was that yesterday? Trying to best my personal best, and I'm in quite a bit of pain now, and probably going to set me back for a couple of weeks. But yeah, so understanding just from the get-go that you're going to have a certain threshold, and that's just what it is, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I talk about books and reading, at one point I read a book called Brawn by this Stuart. Somebody, I forget his name. But at the beginning of the book, he had a discussion about, hey, you should measure your wrists and then look at your body and realize that not everyone is built the same. Mm-hmm. And so there are men and women, there are people who are built to have huge muscles, right? And there are people that are not built to have as big a muscle, right? And it changed and it's funny because when I talk about looking good with my shirt off, what I mean is I had to come to a rational understanding of how I was built, right? I also have very skinny wrists. And so what I realized was, okay, so I'm not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. No. But what I can do... Not naturally, right? But what I can do is look really good with what I got. Mm-hmm. So focus in on that. Find your strengths. Because I've come to understand, I think every person has a set of muscles that for them... is they can grow those very big, right? I think everybody, and for me, it's my back. And so, pull-ups and things are where I focus on. But, understanding and working within the limitations that the universe, God, nature, whatever, imposed upon me from the beginning, as long as you recognize that and work with it, my life, that changed the way that I work out and makes gains realistic. And, so yeah. So I don't compare myself to people that don't look like me, right?
It's interesting that you mentioned that comparing, because earlier on when Adrian was talking about his journey, and he gave a couple of tips to folks that kind of want to follow the same path, and things that have helped him so far, and he asked me to do the same. Think about a couple of tips that I would give people out there, and my one of my tips is that I learned not to take myself so seriously. And in doing that, in part of that, what I mean is I've stopped comparing myself to other people, which in the beginning was a huge roadblock, because there are massive human beings in the free weight room, just in the gym in general. But you want to see some of the largest human beings you've ever seen go into the free weight room. At whatever gym you go to. And at any given time, there are gigantic oxen in there. And for somebody like me who's been this little shrimpy guy most of my life, and I just so desperate to get a little bit bigger, you go in there and you see these guys, and it's like, what's the point?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, and I'm going to take a page out of Jordan Peterson's book here and say that the other thing that I've learned to do is, if you have to compare yourself, because first off, you don't know anything about those people other than the way they look, so it's dangerous to compare yourself to them.
Sure.
Because you don't know anything about them other than they're huge. So if you just have this uncontrollable need to compare yourself to someone, compare yourself to someone that you do know.
Right.
And that's you yesterday.
Bam.
Right?
Well
so, and that continues to drive my workouts forward. Now, I don't always hit that mark, right? We all have our days, where you just can't get going, or whatever it is, maybe you didn't eat right or sleep right or whatever, and you push through it. But, if you can shoot for that mark, like just a little bit better than last time, just a little bit, just a tiny bit more weight, or just a little bit more focus, a little bit more, concentration on your movements, a little bit, just a little bit better than last time. Right. And think about that though, that little bit over 3 months time, or like Adrian said, his 12-week cycle, it perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to get a kick, you compare yourself to at the beginning of that cycle.
Right.
And that's where things start to change. So so when I say, don't take yourself too seriously, that's a big part of it, is not comparing myself to, to everyone around me, and particularly in the gym, and just work on myself, and don't take it too serious.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's well said, Jacob. It's very well said. You have any tips, man?
Yeah.
What would be your 2 or 3 things that
Well, I think the first thing I would say is consistency, because I know in the past I had this idea that in 6 to 8 weeks of me going to the gym twice a week, I was gonna see a noticeable change, and you will, somewhat. But to really see any kind of difference, you have to work hard for an extended period of time. That's why people take steroids, because what it does do is it shortens that time, right?
Yep.
You can go to the gym over and over and over again and not experience the fatigue and the soreness that you're going to experience when you first start out. And so for me, this time around, the name of the game, especially in running, has been consistency. Right? I just keep going. And like I said, even if I go, like Jacob said, and I didn't get enough sleep and I don't really work out that great, I just focus on, doing something a little bit extra than I did before. And for me, I really enjoy the weight room, but where I really apply that is in running. When you want to stop, just don't stop. Go a little bit faster. I time myself. I just want to get a little bit faster, and I can see that improvement, when I go and I look at my times. So consistency is the name of the game. And also, I think especially if you're starting, body weight exercises are, you're not good. They're safe and they're effective. I mean, at a certain point in time, if you want to put on some muscle, you're going to have to do some free weights and things like that. But, pull-ups, push-ups, weight or squats without weight, you can really get a head start even before you go into the gym just by doing that.
Sure.
And then the third one for me too is go to the gym. Like, I know that there's home stuff, and I've tried that, and I've had weights at my house, but there was something about making the commitment of time and money at a place that was designated for that purpose, and then getting involved when you get there. Like, don't just walk in and wave. Like, meet the people. Become a part of that place. And then going there is socially enjoyable. And then everybody's there to accomplish. There's something about the energy.
Yeah.
You know, that everybody's there to
Yeah.
accomplish this thing. And even when you look at that guy and you're like, yeah, I'm probably not ever going to lift that much weight. Doesn't matter. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't know what changed. I think also what changed for me was the process of recovery, where I became much more self-assured in a way that I'd never been before. So my time at the gym, I don't have to, like, I go with Adrian, but I was telling him the other day, I used to have somebody there with me. Like, I had to do the same thing that they were doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the self-confidence or the comfortability to just do my own thing and have you be there. And I don't know. I think, so consistency, don't be afraid of bodyweight exercises, and making that commitment to actually go someplace and have that be a thing that you do there, and that energy. That would be what I would recommend to people.
That's well said, dude. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I think I want to start by talking about, you talked about, community, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that is such a big deal. For me, initially, the bump that I, kind of encountered was partly because of, that community aspect, right? I used to have a team that I used to work with, and, it was my peers that I played, sports with, and it was also, the coaches and all these people, right? And that was missing, from my life. And so just having a place where I could go, where I felt like the people were genuinely interested in me and why I was there. And not just that, they were actually like interested in what they were doing there, right? Their jobs. Cause it would suck to have that, 16-year-old kid, who's the same kid who's in the drive-through, who's just hating life,
right?
Be the same person that's at the gym when I'm, going into this I'm vulnerable, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Help. Yeah. Show me something that, I don't need that to be the person that, is there that, to help me out. So it really helped to have, all the people at the 20th Street Rec Center.
Yeah. They're great.
There for me. And, and I don't know what, Denver Parks and Rec are doing, but so far, all the rec centers that I've been to, they've been really, really, good to me.
Yeah.
The people there say hi. And okay, so granted, okay, there are some of the young folks that, are just like, stuck to their phone. They're behaving like
young folks,
their age. That said, when they do engage you, they're completely, their attitude is good. They'll help you out. They'll give you what you need,
yes.
at the time, And so, I really think that's important. And so if I was going to give anyone, a suggestion, one of the things is, go somewhere, maybe even in your own community, because maybe there's a chance you'll bump into someone from down the street, right? And then you've never said hi to them. You get to, know the people in your community a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the community aspect, and, that's that aspect of connecting, is really big. So pick somewhere that you're really comfortable with. We talked about this in episode 2, and you alluded to it, right? This, making the investment of time and money, right? Those are two things that are really, really personal and like important to us, right? Because money comes at such a great price, and your time is the most finite resource that, we only have so much of it, and we don't know how much that is,
Right.
There could be a semi truck, coming to, has been sent by the universe to end you.
Come on, man. Could be time to go home.
It could be time to go, and you don't know. And, so, I mean, so the way we spend our time is so important, right? And so, yeah, find a place that you love, that, you can connect with the people and have a sense of community, right? Because that's going to make a lot of the difference. I'll go back to, find your why. This is something, it's a recurring theme for me, right? I spoke about how initially my motivation was this whole, I'm not about that needle life thing, cause I thought I was going to be a type 2 diabetic, right? And, that was the why then, but that has greatly changed at this point.
Right.
One of the reasons I decided to join the, relay team, when we did the whole, marathon thing was, I realized that I wanted to challenge myself in a way that I hadn't, right? And steady pace has always sucked, okay? And let's be clear, it still sucks. But it challenged me in a way that I had never, I'd never taken on that challenge before, right? And I got to experience all those things, like the great benefits that you talked of, this meditative state, pushing myself, right? Just really asking that question, is that all you have, right? And let me ask you something. If you took 6 more steps, will you die?
Right.
No.
Maybe.
I mean, it depends. It depends, but you don't know until you take
Probably
those
not.
6 steps, right?
Probably
And then you find out, oh, I didn't. Oh, I might have thought that I would, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, it's about integrating this ethos of always challenge yourself, right? In everything I do. Cause so right now I'm trying to get to a place where even though like aesthetically, I want to change how I look aesthetically because, technically, scientifically, right? They say like, especially in my midsection, that's where I'm most unhappy. They say the weight that you carry there is a great indicator of what your health is like, right? And I'm not in bad health, but I can certainly be better, right? I work more to like make sure I'm a decent human being more than like, I look like perfection. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying?
Yeah.
But that said, I'm looking to really make some of those changes. And if I'm going to take on something like that, I feel like that journey can really inform how far I can really take myself in other areas, like starting this company. You know what I'm saying? And doing all of the things that I want to do to reach out there and help people, because the podcast is only one component of like the greater plan of how I'm going to reach out, and touch it and impact as many lives as I can, and if I'm able to get through this place of muddling through and, sacrificing and really figuring out what it takes and doing it, to get to this goal, that is going to really, help me achieve all the other things, that same spirit.
Agreed. Yeah.
And so that's what it's about for me. And, and just feeling better and, all of these great benefits, right? So find out your why, and that can change over time. Yours was different in the beginning.
Oh yeah. Completely.
Than what it is now. Yeah. And, for a lot of other people, it's going to be like that. So, whatever it is, put your insecurities aside, figure out what it is you want, right? And just do it for yourself, this is a good time to be selfish, figure out exactly what it means to you and just go with it. Okay. The other thing I would really, really want to like let people know is just because you've been doing something for a long time. So good example. Last year we did was it last year? It was last year. Last year we did the Colfax Marathon. Went out, ran that. I was in pretty damn good shape, right?
Killed it.
Got through the year.
Oh, yeah.
Got through the year. I had a death in the family. My grandpa died. I was still working out. Matter of fact, when I found out, I was in the gym, like mid-set, and I got a call. Continued to work out, but then I went back home. And man, when I'm back in Kenya, I'm just not as active as I would prefer. My life over here is a lot more active, whether it's, doing work or, when I'm working out. I mean, everything is, pretty active. So I don't spend a lot of time, moving as much as I'd like to. So I got kind of comfortable, got back here, everything had been chaotic. So I didn't get time to process, my grandpa's death. And, I get into a space where I'm just trying to distract myself, just kind of hold my own, right? Because the job we do is really difficult and I didn't have a lot to give, so I started seeking comfort in, my usual places, ice cream.
Yes.
Ice cream and, just all these things that really did not help out as far as, getting back into my consistent regimen that really, really helps me on a day to day. And so I go back to the gym and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm getting back into this. Dude, it was so difficult. I was weak. I mean, I still had muscle. I had put on like water weight and stuff like that. Cause, when you're doing the ice cream thing, it takes so much water to digest. And that's why it's good to know some of the science of like how these things work. Because when you eat meat or you do dairy, it takes so much water to break those things down in your body, the digestive process. And you hold on to some of that. And so, anyway, long story short, man, I just found out that I was weak, man. I'd lost at least like, 25%, if not more, of whatever, I had kind of gained. The good thing is now as I am, after this is week 8 of my 12 weeks, I have started shedding, size wise, right? But that's not really the best part of what has happened. Strength wise.
Oh yeah, you're back, baby.
I'm feeling pretty damn good, man. And one of the ways I can definitely tell is in my shoulders, because I had that shoulder injury never just magically went away. Mm-hmm. But all of this rehab and all the things, the eating well and all these things, right? They helped me strengthen some of those muscles and build muscles around, right?
Yes.
That have really helped me like move on. And I'm not, doing overhead presses at 312 pounds like the white shark here, which is just, I've heard what you said, but I can't calculate 312 pounds like overhead. It's insane. I don't even know what's going on there. How brave. And
it's impressive.
Hero-like, man.
All right.
Okay, anyway, I digress. Basically, what I'm getting to is just try your best to always start out. If you've been out for even 2 weeks, that's enough to lose some gains. Mm-hmm. You don't have to get back in the gym and just start going all crazy like, like you never stopped working out, because you can injure yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you get injuries, it's no joke. You really... It'll be a test in of its own, not just getting back into, back to a place where you're strong and you've kind of healed, but just, the struggle of what happens, in between there, right? Because like I said, I was trying to work out, man, and I couldn't. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do pull-ups. There's a lot of things I couldn't do. And it started messing with me psychologically.
You gotta go back to the old, back to the beginning,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we were saying earlier, you're not there to impress anybody. We're not trying out for the high school wrestling team, right?
Right.
You just put on what the weight that you can do, and you just get your workout,
Exactly.
But it's definitely a little discouraging. Yeah.
It's discouraging, but you know what? Be safe. Go back to lighter weights. Just get back into it, and put in the time that you need to get back to wherever you really want to be. Be patient.
Yeah.
Patience is a big thing.
The hardest part about that is how quickly it goes away.
Oh, dude.
Compared to how long it takes to build back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true.
Dude.
I took an 11-day vacation from it, and it was like a child in there. It took a month to get back.
Yeah.
Dude, the look on your
with
face.
like the 2.5 pounds doing the little...
Yeah, the circles? Yeah. Dude, the funny thing is, so there's this guy called Simeon Panda. He's on YouTube, right? This guy, he's not even he's not like a professional bodybuilder. He's just really into like fitness, and now it's become like what he does. But he just talks about how even now, from the beginning and up to now, when he's doing, let's say it's bench press, right? He'll start with a bar, get the movement, just start moving. Mm-hmm. That's not even his warm up. He's just, he just has a process. So he's just doing the bar just to get into this, to figure out his movement, get locked in. And then he starts putting on the weight, but he starts low. He'll put on 10s.
Yeah.
If you see this dude and how massive he is, if he's going to take the time to do this kind of stuff, listen, man, don't be a champ. Okay. It doesn't matter how big you are. Just do the things that you need to do when you're, trying to get into your workout. And it makes all the difference.
Otherwise, what's the point of being there and doing it if you're not going to do what works and what is right for your body?
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time if you don't.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And we've had this discussion where we'll see people in the gym. Sure, you've got an impressive amount of weight on those barbells, but your form is such that you're not actually building the muscles that you're trying to build.
Right.
And so it is so much more effective and so much safer to lift a weight that is challenging, but that allows you to maintain proper form.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there's something to be said to testing yourself every now and again.
Sure. Yeah.
But you just got to weigh the possible consequences. You
Right.
know, the 312 nearly killed me.
Right. Right. So how much, so the point I was trying to make about how he does that is about like taking the time to, first of all, figure out the movement, right? Get used to that. Your joints, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of feel it out. And then as you start to put on the weight slowly, you're warming up, activating those muscles, because that way you can actually, that's exactly how you get to the point. And you know this because you've been doing the volume thing, and so it's absolutely it's already what you're doing, right? But a lot of people don't do that, and that's how you're able to actually get to the point where you're lifting that 5 pounds, like almost every time you go, because you're giving yourself the opportunity, your muscles, to get to the point where you can, you're warmed up and you can lift heavy.
What's interesting is that book that I read recommended, and I never have done it, and it kind of makes me want to get it, the micro weights. So his suggestion was if you go and you put, because you can only go up by like 5 pounds, right? Even the 2.5 pounds put on each side, that's 5 pounds. Right. He was like, get micro weights. They're magnetic. They actually stick to the end of the weights. So you can go up by 0.5 pound. So you can, if you increase your lift on whatever it is by 0.5 pound every time you went in over the course of a year, how much more weight would you be lifting?
Right.
And that's totally doable.
Even if it's only like 1 or 2 reps, if that's at the end of a set of pyramiding up to that, I mean, that's a heck of a workout. You know? And you've started in the right place by doing just the bar. Just the movement,
just the movement.
It's important that see, I think a lot of people think that you don't need to do that except for at the very beginning of the entire workout. Just because you were just lifting on in a different station on a different machine, you weren't doing that movement.
Right. Exactly.
So it's important to let your body reset and shift gears, because I mean, up like over your head is different than out in front of you, know? So you need to get that movement down, you know? You really hurt yourself if you're not doing it right.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's what I've got. If I was going to give anyone some tidbits, based on like my journey, that's what it would be. Our insecurities, are a big deal. There's such a big reasons why we don't do this, that, and the other, right? Give yourself a chance, and just do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. That's one of the important things that, I think is so beneficial, because that's the reason why people don't ask for help at the gym, how do you adjust this machine or whatever it is, it's the smallest stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're doing all this stuff for yourself, and
discipline.
It's discipline.
Yeah. That's one of my other, areas of importance that I think, is overlooked. I mean, it takes discipline to have commitment and to have the patience and all that stuff.
Right.
But it also takes discipline to hold yourself to what you've set out to do.
Right.
In the long term, it takes discipline to do all of the supplemental things, whether it's diet or whatever.
Right.
To allow yourself, to be in a position to have those benefits. It takes discipline to work that into your already probably busy life. It carries over into the rest of all other areas of your life. I've found, it's taught me, discipline in everything. I mean, that's what it takes to get what you want, right?
Absolutely.
Not cutting corners. You have to have discipline. I think that's such a undervalued thing in people's lives. Everything you've ever done took a little bit of discipline in some way, shape, or form. So to up that to like a long-term goal, like a 3-month thing or a 6-month thing or a 1-year thing, the amount of discipline, it kind of compounds, and then that just trickles down into the other areas of your life. I've just found it to be so just altering.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Agreed.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So man, it's been almost 2 hours. I mean, we could probably sit here and, talk,
Yeah, we could.
We're friends. We really like to, spend time around each other and, do this kind of thing. And there's going to be plenty more opportunity. The way things are going now, Jacob's just going to become a permanent contributor to, the podcast, one way or the other. Maybe sometime here in the future, we'll, go do some kind of, gym sesh and actually record it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, new personal.
We'll see. We'll
I feel a
see.
new personal best going on.
People will find out we're not quite as nice a fellas as we seem on the radio.
Hey,
Right.
man,
No,
it's all good, man. As
You gotta
long
get
as it's
tough in
real.
the gym. Yeah, you can't be nice in the gym.
Well, you can be courteous.
Well, you be
Can be-
courteous,
no, courteous.
But
yes.
but the look on your face may not be nice. Is what I say because I
No,
don't
man.
I don't have like a pleasant look when I'm
game face.
yeah.
Funny enough, that's one of the other things I've learned. Just as like a side note, Adrian can attest to that I've probably had some of my meaner moments as far as a human being in the gym, just muddling it up around what other people are doing and being in the way and this and that and the other. And, I've thought back to where I was in the very beginning. And if somebody had come over and said, hey, this is how you use this so you don't hurt yourself and so you don't ruin the equipment, so on and so forth, rather than, saying some mean stuff to me or muddling up like I used to, then I may be even further than I am. So I've begun to try to do that when I see somebody struggling or somebody that is obviously new and seems a little hesitant about asking for help and stuff. I'll just be like, hey man, let me show you something real quick, and not in a condescending way or anything like that, but and it's funny because that's how when you talk about that community, that's how that starts, right? I've met some really cool people doing that, and I've heard some really amazing stories from folks that you wouldn't know it by looking at them, but were like in a wheelchair a year earlier,
right,
and now are hoisting 4 times their body weight above their face, and just really amazing stuff, as far as the human condition goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So it's been a great discussion.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this.
I guess we got to end somewhere.
Yeah.
We have to end somewhere.
Pull the plug, man. Pull the
We
plug.
have to end somewhere. So anyway, those are, that's just, the brief on our experience. And, if you appreciate what you've heard today, if you'd actually like to get in touch with us, feel free to send us an email through, the website. You can find us at www.2teachone.com. That's www, the number 2, TEACH1.com.
2teachone.
You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at TWOTEACHONE. Again, that's TWOTEACHONE. Feel free to definitely send us a private message, comment on our posts, and please go and like our page as well. We try to post, at least a few times a week, at least a couple times a day. We're doing our best to definitely get better at that. Get you some more information in between episodes. I'd like to thank everyone that has been a part of this journey so far. Truth is, if we hadn't, gotten some of the feedback that we've gotten, that really lets us know that we're accomplishing the mission of getting some information to people out there that need it, then we wouldn't be doing this at this point. It's, and I think, at least I'll speak for myself, just hearing people, even if it's just one at a time, let us know that, what we're doing is important, makes all the difference. So thank you for listening. We hope to see you, or we hope you're going to listen again, next time. The next episode we publish is going to be on,
Well, this will actually
let me see. So this episode is going to publish,
this upcoming Thursday, which
this
I believe
upcoming
is the
Thursday,
17th.
and we post bi-weekly. So every other Thursday, we post to our website and at any of your iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just check for us there. If you have any suggestions or you just want to get in touch with us, again, you can find us at www.2teachone.com. That's www.2teach1.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again. My name's Adrian.
My name's Aaron.
Jacob.
Until next time.